everybody and welcome to Let's Build Live from Oak Hill Works. How are we all doing? I hope you are well. And here we are with another new project, a restoration this time of a gem narrow gauge carriage. I don't make these kits anymore, unfortunately, because there were two different kits they made. This is the break. I would like to get my hands on the other one at some point, but so far I haven't seen any available anywhere. Came to me in a job lot some time ago, and has sat around ever since waiting to be looked at. And probably would have sat around even longer if it wasn't for James last week requesting something narrow gauge. So yes, how are we all? We have here, as well as that, the coffee decanter press thing with a bit of plasticard in it and lots of boiling water to form us the plasticard round. That's been sat there for quite a while now. You've all seen me do it before, and I didn't fancy forgetting and having to boil the kettle on stream again. James approves of narrow gauge carriages. I am glad you approve, James. It is quite nice to have a project like this to work on. I do enjoy narrow gauge. As I say, if you hadn't have mentioned it at the end of the stream last week, then I probably would not have got round to it yet either. Not for hydration. No, indeed not. This is for hydration, because hydration is important. As is buying your Oak Hill Model Railway mugs from the merch store. Exclamation mark merch in the chat. You are okay? Good to hear, J94. 009 is the boom DVD. So yeah, 1850s rake. 1860s, but yes. Very authentic 1860s. No terriers, pre-terriers. This is, although it's still a carriage short, will be a rake I have in a picture at Hailsham, which is where this engine worked. So I've got a brake second to go in here, and then that will be, and obviously I've got to finish this one because it's got no roof, and then that will be an authentic rake for the Hailsham branch, with the logo for the Hailsham branch in the late 1860s. Have a Brighton 13A first, which is started life as a Triang rocket carriage. A 9B third, which is scratch built. And a 20A brake, which needs a lantern lookout on it, which was built on stream from a whitemetal kit by Eric Gates, and the wheels in it are too small, so I'll have to sort that at some point. No terriers unless you count the Lockgorn tanks. But why would we want to count them? No, we don't need to count them. No Brighton terriers, is that better, Killian? So yes, I have been working on doing up this rake since last week's stream. In the slideshow at the start, where there is a picture of Lion with two carriages in mahogany and then a toad, and these are the two coaches from that picture, but they have changed slightly since then. And yeah, I am very happy with how the rake's coming together. Because all the different liveries are also authentic for the train, and the brake second will be in a different livery as well, because there were different liveries based on class at the time. I can't imagine the people in this one were too impressed being next to this one, to be honest. But there we go. Those are beautiful carriages. Thank you, Killian. I am extremely happy with them. Just don't tell anyone that I haven't done the beading on this side of this one yet. I thought it much more important to get one side looking done so it could sit in the background of this stream. So yes, Talaflin number 22. It's a break. Number 23 has been done as a kit as well. If I can find a kit of it, I would like to get it and have the pair. So it came to me as part of the job lot. Not overly well built, roughly glued together, cardboard floor. What year would this train take place? 1855, 1860. I have a photo of this train, albeit with a different logo, in 1868. But some of those carriages go back a lot further than that. Only finishing one side is my trick. Most of my PO wagons only have lettering on one side. But yeah, so here you can see we've got the support for the bogie on this side, but the one on this side was actually just glued to the cardboard floor, not to the sides of the carriage at all. So it's all come apart without much effort. The cardboard is glued to the white metal better than the other bits of white metal are. This is why we don't use glue for white metal kits. Hello, Javier. How are you? I hope you are well. So yes, the first thing we want to do with a restoration project like this is dismantle it. If it had been soldered, we could do all this by dunking it in hot water, as I have shown before. I'm not worried about whether the buffers come off properly, because although I've not decided on a coupling system for the 009 yet, I am decided it's not going to have buffers. Good evening, Paderborn. How are you? I hope you are well. So yes, what other parts do we have? We have in here the other one of those supports and a pair of bogies. Very nice train in the back and very painful looking cardboard. I'm glad you approve of the train. I actually sent you a picture of it on Discord earlier so that you could get a sneak peek of the Craven with an authentic rake of carriages. These bogies are not being mounted permanently because they are too short for what this carriage should have, but they will do for now and they'll let it roll, so that's what matters. Sitting fairly pretty, multitasking. Oh, the physics. Ooh, physics. I like physics. Makes me look clever. I sound clever when I use physics words anyway. So yeah, what we need to do now is clean this stuff up because it's all covered in the residue from the glue. So that needs to come off. The bits that will receive solder will need a polish. And then we can start rebuilding it. We'll get the body soldered together. We'll make a new floor for it out of plasticard rather than cardboard. And the roof will be plasticard. Things move apparently. It's actually an alright class. Things do indeed move, that is part of physics. Yeah, there's a lot of cardboard still on here where the cardboard has stayed stuck to the white metal. So there's nothing wrong with using cardboard as a medium for modelling. I have seen O-gauge locos made of cardboard. Well, it's probably not the ideal medium to be mixing with white metal. I'd much rather use plasticard. Let's remember to turn my phone on silent. It's been a while since I've not done that. And there is the bot. Remind everyone to hit the like button, subscribe, ring the notification bell, all those wonderful things that YouTube likes it if you do. Just remember, YouTube doesn't actually care whether you hit the like button or the dislike button. It just cares that you hit one of them. Because if you hit the dislike button, you've still engaged with the video. So if you really dislike something on YouTube, don't hit the dislike button. Or if you know, at least stick around and tell the creator why you're hitting the dislike button. It's only polite. So do you remember the days when YouTube videos had a star rating system? Yes, I do. God, that was a while ago. But yes, I do remember YouTube having a star rating system for videos. Oh, these holes do go all the way through. I wasn't sure. There's so much glue on there. The signal is coming along nicely. Excellent. That was very impressive looking. You've not convinced me to ditch my etched ones yet, though. I'll be honest. How is your MDF going to hold up? I assume it's laser cut MDF anyway. going to hold up to having a motor on it, is my question. That one came off a lot easier. And the glue was white. That one must not have been glued with the same glue. But yes, for anyone that wants to check out Linny's very impressive looking signals, what you want to do is join my Discord at oakhillmodelrailway.co.uk/Discord, or !Discord in the chat to get yourself a link to click, or even down in the description for that matter. Discord's everywhere. Like, proof of signals is you're supposed to cut away. Yeah, I know. But I can't get enough strength behind it if I'm cutting away to go through the bits of white metal that are sticking out as well as the glue at the moment. Plenty spare movement beyond what the signal should need to do. Ah, excellent. That is good to hear. So this is servo motor, it will be, yes. Yeah, servo motor would be the best thing to use, definitely. I will certainly be looking forward to seeing it bedded in the layout, working through a motor. With correct signal pulleys and everything in the ground, I expect, as well. Excellent, easily adjustable in that case, indeed. Don't do what I did, because my signals did not like my H&M solenoid. Needed a bit of a bigger omega loop in that, or better construction, one of the two. Definitely builder at fault. What servo control electronics will you be using? Oh, here come the hard questions. Did you see the RM web link I posted in Discord the other day, James, that I tagged you in? About automation? Because I definitely thought it'd be right up your street. Oh, that's why Discord had a little red dot next. Little red dot usually means there's a new message. It gives me puts a 1 in it or something when you've been tagged. But yes, I tagged you in a message the other day because one of the people at club has a blog on RM web where they were showing off their homemade DCC automation. And I thought, I know exactly who will want to see that. Haven't been on Discord this week. That's kind of you to think of me with that. Let's have a look. That one I log in next. Excellent. I'm sure you shall enjoy it. I think there was a 1 in it. Yeah. So I'd completely forgotten about his blog because I've been watching his automation develop. He's been showing us on the Monday night Skype calls and sending videos through that. And then he posted to his blog with them the other day and put some of the videos in there. I thought, videos, of course. James will want to see these. Because it is all, he's made it himself. When he first started at Uckfield, he was asking about DCC controllers. And I gave him some advice for making his own. So he followed that advice, made a very nice controller, and he's now making up all his own automation stuff. So look forward to seeing that when I get some spare time, which on current estimates will be around November 2021. Excellent. Well, not too long to wait then. So, good news everyone, that's me done with the knife. I'm not going to rip my fingers off, apparently. There's still time. Still time. Gosh, there's the thing. Did automation never appeal to you? It does indeed appeal to me, James, but I've got no layouts that would be any good for it, unfortunately. Apologies, I've come late to the party this evening. Hope you are all well. I am indeed very well, Bob. How are you doing? I hope you are well. Through your fingers, they're useful. No, I forgot the commands again, James. I remembered a 009 project for you, though. Didn't design a layout of automation in mind. I've got nowhere big enough to put something. Because, the layouts I have that I've just like the only one I've actually designed myself properly is Hailsham, which is being built because I want Hailsham, so there was no really altering that. Now I recommend building a layout based on Peck and Rye in the 1880s. Well, I believe you have already recommended that to Alex the Mole, who is apparently not with us tonight. Hopefully he is well. He does not do social media on Sundays, so I don't speak to him on Sundays to know whether he is well or not. But yeah, I'm definitely not going to Engage. Engage Peck and Rye 1880s is a possibility. There are brass kits for the carriages, and Engage Terriers are a thing. So that's the unusual Alexness this evening. I also hope he is well. Yes, I'm sure he will be. He's had a few nights off from here before. I normally talk to him the next day. And oh, you are here, just quiet. Good. But I'm glad you're here, Alex. See, we'll worry about you when you don't talk. So how are you, young mole? Oh, good evening. I hope it's all well in Alexland. Indeed. Don't we all hope all is well in Alexland? Look at that, I lied about being done with the knife. If any of you were surprised that I didn't know what I was doing and found more stuff to remove, welcome to the channel. You must be new here. Not really, but it's whatever. I'll be honest, that's the answer I expected. We shall discuss tomorrow. There you go, Gary. 8-second video, signal up on Discord. Ah, excellent. I shall look forward to seeing that after stream. Also, how is life in Garyland? Life in Garyland is good. Relatively busy. Helped my sister move through the week because she has made the strange decision to buy a house in Hicktown. And I made the strange decision to be a van owner. There is something stabbing me on this workbench. Either that or it's embedded in my knuckle. I actually wouldn't be surprised if it's the latter. Help sister to move through the week. Would she otherwise be stuck in Monday? Indeed she would. Like you wouldn't believe. It's left me feeling rather sore in the legs and arms though. Greetings to the morning listening while about a million times. Sound about a million times. Welcome, Michael McCarville. We do not mind at all. I hope you are well. If I can provide something for you to listen to, then I feel that I am doing my job as a YouTuber. God, I hope that's never actually really my job. That would just be weird. Have you seen the kitten this week? I have not only seen that kitten, I've seen a different kitten this week as well. A much more colourful one. Which did not seem so dishevelled and was very, very friendly. Which rather surprised me. You had a multiple kitten week? Excellent. Winning at life. I did have a multiple kitten week. Yeah, as I say, this second one was very, very friendly. I was quite surprised. I've not seen this one before, ever. But I got home on Friday and there it was, sat in my garden. I thought, right, I'm going to upset this one now by walking through the gate because it was quite close to the path. But I opened the gate to come in and it just sat there. Started walking up the path and it came over to say hello. was completely unfazed by this person he's never seen before, which I thought was very uncatty of it. Very friendly kittens are the best sort of kittens. They are. Did purring happen? Yes, and in fact it came back yesterday whilst I was making dinner. I saw it hanging out in the garden as I was cooking. And I called my daughter down, who instantly came down to see this cat, ran out into the garden and sat down at my picnic bench to begin calling it over, as she always does. However, before she got the chance to call it over, it walked up to her and jumped on her lap. Please put kitten pictures on Discord. Your daughter has excellent taste in domestic pets. There's a cat on my YouTube. Now I'm a proper YouTuber. I met a kitten this week also, poor thing. You did indeed, the poor thing, Killian. I hope it is well. Little Fluff, what's that one called? No idea what it's called. Sounds like my Lucy, she's a very people kitten. Yeah, I've never known one to be quite so peoply as this one. I never cleared all the glue off this bit. Which also reminds me, I haven't polished these bits on the other one. I approve of people kittens and also kitten people. Yep, fair enough. So, what is everyone else up to this evening? What projects have you got on? I do like to hear about them. So please do tell me. We shall discuss all these interesting projects that you people do. In some cases probably with much more skill than me, let's be honest. It's always surprised me the level of experience I get in these live streams, because of course my original thought was that they would be only appealing to beginners. This evening, making engaged turnouts. This afternoon, researching central heating and solar panels. Engage central heating and solar panels? Gallons 109E and Sir Keith Park Spitfire 5B. Oh, very nice. Very nice indeed. See Discord for another kitten, James. There you go, James. More kittens on Discord. If you're doing Sir Keith Park Spitfire, Christopher, you'll have to get a Battle of Britain class to go with it. No, full-size central heating and solar panels. Solar panels weren't really a thing on houses in the era of my Engage layout. Minor details, James, minor details. I won't tell anyone if you don't. Rescaling things to TT. Now there's an obscure gauge. Although for a 21st century layout, it'd be quite an interesting bit of detailing to add. Haven't seen many layouts with solar panels. No, neither have I. What I'd really like to see, James, is working solar panels on a layout that actually power the layout. Trains can only run if there is sun. Gosh, one of the skill scale have been better, had it been the most popular scale. Working solar panels could power the interior lights of a building potentially. They could. Brilliant. I'll tell you what, having seen some of the insane things I've seen on RM Web, nothing would surprise me if people did it. Layout actually powered by solar panels will need fairly substantial solar panels that wouldn't fit on the layout. This is very true. But, as I like to say, minor details. And remember everyone, hydration is important. You'll just need lots of houses with lots of little solar panels on. That's what you need, see? I think of these things. So, we now have our selection of white metal bits. I've got to remember, I've moved everything over slightly. It's not where I'm used to it. I've got a new chair, you see. It's not as big as my old one and has wheels, so it's easier to get in and out. So I've had to, and it's slightly taller, so I've had to adjust everything because I'm in a different seating position. However, there's much to be said for the idea of Engage live steam, that is powering an Engage layout with an electrical generator connected to a Stuart miniature stationary steam engine. Why have you downsized chairs? Because, in all honesty, the gaming chair was too big. Once we move into the proper recording studio, it will happen one day, honest. I won't be able to get it in there. And this chair was at my sister's waiting to be thrown out when I was helping her move. And I said, well, if you're getting rid of it, I'll have it. So I did. But it's a swivelly office chair, unlike my big gaming chair I had before. It's a nice leather one, and it's in decent condition. Right, let's put the soldering iron on. So, earlier today, my gaming chair went into storage. It shall most likely come back out once all this lot moves and live where the workbench currently is. Right, that's not gonna work. And the reason that's not going to work is because this has big bits sticking out from it. I always have a swivelly office chair in my shed. They're very useful, aren't they? I'm going to get some flux on these before I do anything else. I've seen 009 live stream. Yes, I meant to bring that up actually. I have also seen 009 live stream, and it's so impressive. Yes, this is the right end for this end. The end pieces are different for anyone wondering why I'm asking if the end is the right end for the end. This one does not have a door, the one at the guard's end does. I believe I shared a video of it on Discord once upon a time. Not only was it 009 live Steam, it was a little portable layout in a suitcase. Well, not even a suitcase, it was a tiny thing, and it had changeable back scenes and everything. It was really cleverly done. That's a right angle if I don't let it move. This is where I remember I haven't got the solder out its packet. Yes, that's the one, James. That is the channel. Sure, seen someone else somewhere was doing Engage live stream. It wouldn't surprise me. You know, you can do it in 009. And then one would expect it is doable in N. That has stuck, and it's still a right angle, you'll be glad to know. Flux indeed, James. You cannot have too much flux. And there we go, our first two bits are together and already much more solid than they ever were before. Of course, strictly 009 is N gauge, just not N scale. That is true. I approve of right angles. Thank you, James, as do I. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do these two together first. And then we'll join the two units together. Which means more flux. much more flux, because you can't have too much flux. You can of course get actual tools for holding these at right angle with magnets and stuff in them, and they're really useful, and I would definitely recommend getting one for anyone doing any jobs like this. I obviously follow my own advice and definitely have one. At least that's what I'm going to tell everyone. Interesting, link on Discord. I'll have to look them up again, but yes, I can link on Discord. I've used them before. Obviously, I actually don't have some, otherwise I'd be using them now. But I have used them before, and they are really useful. Used them in fingers are cheaper. It's not too bad with white metal solder. It's cool enough to hold as long as you're not on it for stupid amounts of time. But you can get tools, and they've got a right angle that goes around the outside, and then a second one that's more triangle shaped that goes inside. They've got magnets in them, so they hold each other together and hold your parts in place. And they are super useful. There we go, almost a carriage. This has not looked like a rectangular carriage since before I got it. It's always been missing a side. Again, another reason we don't glue white metal kits. They will get broken. Everyone remembers back to when I taught you all how to glue white metal. That was for those that don't want to solder, and honestly, if you don't want to solder it, don't solder it if you're not confident doing it. It's not as hard as everyone says it is. You just have to have the right equipment. Less accurate and more prone to burning. They are, Jay. My grandfather was once trying to build 150 brass Clyde puffer. Many a time he was, come here and hold this. A paint job, and they would never know. Yeah. That sounds painful. Right, that is all the sides soldered. not soldered, fluxed. I know what I'm trying to say. And fitting together, so now it's time to drop some solder on them. A little bit at the top to link those two. And the same on here. Honestly, all made from drawings and sheet brass. Excellent. I approve of scratch building from drawings. And sheet brass for that matter. I have locos built as such, although obviously they're actually electric powered. That's better. And there we are, 4 sides. Along with a 3-inch gauge terrier of all things. Ah, excellent. Everyone should have a terrier. So now we're just going to get in there with the duster and get any excess flux out. He says, whilst clearly leaving a lot of flux behind. I still don't have a terrier. Well, you need to get one, James. There's no excuse. You need to have a terrier. A layout isn't really a layout unless it's got a terrier on it. Everyone knows that. I did see a wonderful 1930s colour image of one on RM Web this week. Oh, 3244. Yeah. I cropped that image when I used it on that thread because of copyright. Oh, why have you done that? I must have slipped when I was soldering and knocked it. Because I've put it together wrong. I was going to take that bit of brass off the end of the iron by hand there. That would have been a silly thing to do. That's where you want to be. Don't poke it through the hole and get your finger. That's also a silly thing to do. Three-inch gauge, bit of a strange gauge. It is a bit. I think my 1980s N gauge will cope without one. I don't think it will. There were plenty of terriers running in the 80s. I have a 3 1/8 inch gauge logo. That could be that gauge. No idea. It's never finished. I even returned the wheels, but never got as far as. I even returned the wheels, but never got as far as the frames or rolling wheels. Returned on a lathe. It should have said. Yeah, that's what I assumed you meant when I was reading it. They weren't running on the Great Western Main Line in the 1980s. Minor details, James. Nothing more than minor details. And so those will be our next bits to go in. And they're going to be at the right height, unlike how they were. They very much were not at the right height. And now that I've fixed the end that I'd obviously knocked out of place, they fit. Minor details what make railway modelling fun. Not if those minor details say don't have terriers. That's the opposite of fun. From one view, it's all minor details. Exactly! It is all minor details. That's why we don't need to worry about them and we should all have terriers. That reassuring moment when another fire engine arrives outside your home. Oh dear. I see that you like terriers. I do like terriers. Has the neighbour been smoking again, Linny? There is no terrier command. Still. And yes, everyone, I know there should be. But how can I put into words the godlike nature of what they would need, well, what it would need to be? So we're soldering these top and bottom. Since they hold the bogies on, they're reasonably important. I hope not after last time. No, I agree, Linny, I hope not as well. There was a last time, there was, James. Tried to click on your adverts again this weekend, but again, I'm turning off the ad block. All that was there were grey banners of emptiness. Google is really failing at these adverts, aren't they? It's no wonder I make no money from them. I haven't checked in so long to see if how much I've made from them. I appreciate you trying though, James. As I said before, those adverts only exist because one day it would be nice if they could cover the cost of the web hosting. Or even just the cost of the domain name. I only got the domain because it was free. Right, now for the bogies, because I'm not permanently attaching them, I have, earlier today, made myself up some little brass pins that drop quite happily into these holes. And then go through the bogies. Obviously when I turn that upside down they're going to fall out, but when it's the right way up they'll be fine. Now soldering brass to white metal is slightly more complicated. I approve of happy little brass pins. Excellent. I am glad you approve of happy little brass pins. They were made from this happy little bit of brass rod. But I thought I'd be nice and do that off camera so you didn't have to listen to me cutting through it and filing it to get rid of all the sharp edges and stuff. Congrats up, thank you Christopher, very much appreciated. Happy brass is the best sort of brass. It is indeed. So yes, soldering brass to white metal. The brass first needs tinning with regular solder, because white metal solder will not stick to brass. But what it will stick to is other solder. But of course we need to get a very thin coat on here. It's just a little bit sticking out now. I think I can take that off with the file. Still a bit too much on there apparently. I did think this was going to happen. And there we go, that is now in exactly as we want it. And it has a tin of solder. So that in a minute, once we've cooled the iron down, we can use the white metal solder to stick it. And thank you for the links, Alex. We have a Discord, a website, a Twitter, a merch, a donate, a Patreon. He still doesn't put the Facebook. It's almost like Facebook have personally wronged him. I can't imagine why he would think that. And to the Facebook from James. Thank you, James. And some kittens. Alex, of course, doesn't even like to acknowledge the fact that the channel has a Facebook. And I do totally understand his reasons for it as well. Spitfire. I do not have a Spitfire command, unfortunately. Command suggestions are always open. Occasionally, I remember to put them in. James has suggested some really good ones recently. And there we go, that one now is also in to the level we want it. So we turn the iron all the way back down and leave it to cool down. Whilst it's cooling down, we apply flux. Is it too much flux? No, you can't have too much flux, just get it on there. Meow. Come on, suggestions. Greatest Prodigy song ever. I didn't know they had one called Spitfire, I'll be honest. Nope, it's not cooled down yet. So whilst we wait for it to cool down some more, I'll remind you all that hydration is important. As are Oak Hill Model Railway mugs available from the merch store. Scroll up a bit. Alex probably put a merch link, I think he did. And I promise, if you buy my merch, I'll only spend the profits on good things for the channel, such as buying my own mug to advertise selling more mugs. Yes, it's even got the Spitfire sound at the start. Oh, excellent. Excellent. I shall have to look it up. That would require me remembering, but I will. Chances are I know it. And I'll hear it and go, oh yeah. And there we are. Soldered. Nice and solid. So because this never came with any bogies, and in parts, for the first time since I've had it, this carriage can sit on some wheels. Well, hey, and we are done with the soldering iron, so we're going to turn that off. It rolls. It doesn't roll straight because I haven't put the bogies under it straight. But it rolls. Falls over a bit. But that's to be expected when you're not attaching the bogies properly. Let's get the pin out. Mods, can someone press show on James's message, please? Because I can't be bothered, I'm putting soldering iron away. Thank you. Dashing away with the soldering iron. I don't know why YouTube didn't like that. But YouTube, so, you know. Do we ever try and explain these things? There is something in my finger. I just pressed down to put the lid on the tip cleaner of the soldering iron, and that really, really, really hurt. There is definitely something embedded in my finger right now. I see it. There's a link to the Patreon from the bot who wants you to donate. All money raised through the Patreon does go towards more live streams. Right, I've got it. My finger is no longer painful. But yes, it really was painful, James, especially because I wasn't expecting it. So there we have a carriage on wheels. Yay! What this carriage now needs is a floor, and that's where our sheet of plasticard comes in, which currently has the other side to this carriage stuck on it, waiting for me to cut it all out so it can go on there. Interestingly, the chassis is not attached to the body because the chassis isn't finished yet. I need to replace the footboards on it and stuff. These are not stuck together in any way, shape or form. You know what, you can stay leaning at an angle with your bogies at being silly. $117. Remember that, someone. By 23. 117 by 23. 117 in class 117 Newton. No, as in 117 millimetres. That nobody yet makes in N-gauge. Well, if you want one, you just have to model in a gauge that people can see. Right, there's a mark at that end, so if I just mark this 117. It's a useful way of remembering the number, but I don't need to remember it after this. $23. $23. So if I put my steel rule now against that, I should have 3 marks that all line up. And they do. Well, hey. And then, of course, as I'm cutting, I won't put enough pressure down and I'll move it slightly. I'm sure Batman will shrink it down soon enough. I believe Batman's plan is to eventually shrink down everything they do. No space for a visible layout. You'll have to have an invisible one then, James. See? Got an answer to everything, mate. I've already got a straight line at this end to cut down. So if we once again go 117, 117, and once through the middle. I always do at least 3 measurements and make sure all 3 line up with each other. If they don't, one of them is wrong and I have to do it again. Well, I do when modelling N-gauge. I know. It's visible to me, yeah. I know. Yeah, I'm glad people don't get as wound up by me claiming N-gauge is invisible as they used to. So it'd be excellent for my Thames Valley 1980s layout. So would a Terrier. I don't know why you think a Terrier wouldn't. A Terrier's fantastic for every layout. Every layout needs a Terrier. And they have been made in N-gauge. What about 18 months for the good sellers? Indeed. I think C-class is just a matter of eyes. Yeah, mine don't work that well. Double 0117 been announced for a long time. PPE, no, don't need any of that. Don't know what you're on about. I have had no injuries today. So in theory, if I'm not completely useless, we now have a flaw. I'd like to remind everyone this is just a theory. So hope the double O gauge will sell well in that case. Indeed. What was embedded in your finger area? No idea. It was absolutely tiny. If I bend my finger back like all the way like this, I can just about see a red dot here where it went in. Whatever it was too small for me to see, but I know it's not there anymore because I can put pressure on it. I know the Everone Junction chap had a double A gauge 117. Oh, I know he has lots of DMUs and EMUs. I don't pay attention to what they are. They're all boxes. And they have, as far as well, even at £200 plus. I mean, I don't think £200 plus is unreasonable for a multiple unit. Right, it's very slightly too long, but width-wise it's fine once it gets past the sticky out bits round at window height. That sounds painful. Shard of metal. I assume so, yes. Not with all the bits and bobs you get these days, for sure. Yeah, see, I think that's a perfectly reasonable price. 200 for a multiple unit in 4mm. There we go. A floor that's the right length. Technical terms, therefore. The most technical of terms. So yes, we have a floor. Poke it down in this corner. And then it's in. Yep, there is our floor. And now that will be glued because it's plastic. Don't be pushing it in as you put the glue on it though. That's a silly thing to do. True in the trade. It's what they get called, fingers or doodles with stuff. Yeah. Sounds like the right term to me. There we go, now we've got a coach that moves in a very interesting manner. But it has a floor in it, so that's good. Next thing we want to do is a partition between the passenger compartment and the guard and luggage, I guess. When I was looking at the drawings earlier, it looks like this is the only partition in the whole carriage, and it goes here. Because I did find the drawings for this carriage online. So I've already got a bit the right width, because I cut it straight across there earlier to get the floor, to make the floor. All I need to do from here is make it the right height. Which I can do by measuring it like this, putting a nick in each side. And then just cutting across where those nicks are. Good evening, Red. How are you? I hope you are well. Cute little coach, thank you. It is the Talaflins number 22. There we go, we have one partition in roughly the right place. I just want to get this side lined up a bit better. That looks better to me. You are very well, I am glad to hear it. Just been installing the narrow panic plates onto KLR numbers 1021. Excellent. So there we have floor and a partition. So we've got our brakes compartment and our passenger compartment. And you know what this means has to come next? The paint has to come out next. So that we can give the interior a nice coat of black. We have to also avoid punching the camera. Top tips for being a professional YouTuber from Gary: do not punch the camera. I'm going to have to tighten that up at some point, that's getting quite loose. That's better. It was just a screw, that's okay. I actually have proper black paint now. So we can actually paint it black rather than the off black that I use. Normally, nice, I meant the coach. Thank you J94, I assumed you did. Always fascinated me that everyone always gets narrow panic plates at the same time. Yeah, they do, don't they? I'm going to refill my hydration vessel. I think that's because of how Narrow Planet do their ordering with their supplier. Because they do it in batches, so you will see lots of people always getting them at the same time. Would it theoretically be possible to convert one of those gym coaches to 00 asking for a friend? And actually, yours mine around 4 months ago. Hang on a second, I will grab a 00 bogey. In fact, while I look for one, I'm going to leave you with some music. And I return. I mean, it's like a four-wheeler. I knew you meant as a four-wheeler, but I have a bogey I can put under it. So, width-wise, it's sort of okay. So, possibly, I think it's a bit long for a four-wheeler. You could probably do a six-wheeler. Yeah, it takes months for them. I think the coach would be tiny in comparison to Lee says, be very low. It would. And even compared to my 1860s stock, it is slightly smaller. Even with a big bulky underframe, so it would look quite small. Theoretically, yes. Would I recommend it? No. Just realised I've got to say hello. I've been here. Hello, Heritage Railway Productions. Good to have you here. How are you? I hope you are well. So yes, I refilled the hydration vessel, and now we can remind you all, hydration is important. Didn't turn it around and show off my picture of a terrier that time. Aren't you proud of me? I see your point. Yeah, it would be a very small carriage in Double O. No, I say, theoretically, yes, you could, but I wouldn't recommend it. Now look, I'm going to put that pot there and not use any blue tack. Does anyone have any objections to that out there? Alex has a heart attack. Very well, thank you. Hope you are as well. I am indeed, thank you. So, we're going to splash some black paint on the inside of this. No objections at all. The paint's the most amusing. Yeah, I thought they would be. I'll be honest, if I'm going to spill any paint, I'd rather it's a tin of Humbrol than the Phoenix that I have been spilling. Slightly cheaper to replace. So yeah, we need to get the interior painted. Then we need to get the roof made. What we need, once the paint's a bit drier, we can even glaze it. I mean, will it get dry enough for that tonight? Maybe not. Is that the point? No. But for what has been, what, an hour and a half now, I think we've done all right. I hear the tinkling of a belled tabby. Ooh, really? Do you now? I do not. The only sound effects you get here are a terrier whistle. And to get that, you need to donate or sign up to Patreon. Or subscribe, possibly? I think subscribing to the channel will set off the alert. In fact, yes, it will. Because whilst it's been a while since we've had that go off, whilst we've been live, I have, on a couple of occasions, when using Streamlabs to record a video, had to restart my recording because someone has subscribed whilst I'm recording and set off the alert in the middle of the video. It's always quite amusing to be there as someone subscribes. They have no idea I know that they've subscribed. So how is everyone doing? What are we up to? Projects are always interest me. Are we still up to the same things as earlier? Have we got more projects on the go? Have we switched projects? Have we just not told me about a project yet? Because I do like to hear about them all. And there we go, there's our interior, fully detailed. You could always try use IFTTT and set up turn your smart bulbs LPCIMG when anyone subscribes. I mean, first I would have to have smart bulbs. I do not, I have plain LEDs. Same things indeed. Those bulbs are great fun. Yeah, but you see the problem is this is my living room. It's where I live in room. So I don't want funny colour changing bulbs. I'd be much more inclined to try that if I wasn't sitting in the corner of the living room. That's a big flake of dried paint on there. I know what's happened there. That's the glue that hadn't quite gone off. This is what happens when you're rushing projects. It's okay, I got it all. Bit of mood lighting never hurt anyone, surely, especially if the mood is terrier. All moods are terrier. No modelling going on for me this evening. I'm off to bed now, so good night all. Stay well and keep modelling. Good night, Paderborn. Thank you for coming. Has been great to have you here, and I shall see you next time. Dry my hand a little bit. So, time to actually make the roof. As discussed earlier, the coffee press has a bit of plasticard down the front of it and boiling water in. Well, it was boiling 2 hours ago, but you know, close enough. So first thing we're going to do is empty that out. And the glass probably won't want to come out because it's quite tight having this bit of plasticard in here. But it's also quite a good radius for roofs. Is that the word I wanted? Made some tarpaulins, chocolate bar wrappers and finished off. Yeah, you guessed it, another wagon with a pop-up load. Excellent. I approve of using chocolate in modelling. Approve of your kettle-based modelling. Well, it works a treat. It does the arc roofs for Brighton carriages almost perfectly. I don't expect this one to be quite so perfect. It seems to have got caught somewhere. But it'll be good enough. It's better than flat, he says. As mentioned, I've just finished giving name and number plates to my more recent locomotives. Decided to change around the names a bit because I didn't think a couple of them really fit the engines. Fair enough. Curvature, yeah, that probably is the word I want. Curvature. And of course another problem with what I've done with this is I've not actually cut it straight. And it's sweated a bit through there, so let's dry that off. But you always cut a bit of plasticard, oversize. So it's not too bad. It's not great, but it's not too bad. This has gutters apparently. And a snap. That was silly. That was very silly indeed. That's why we don't play with it. It might still be good depending on where that snap is in relation to everything else. So that's now the right length with a flick up at the end that I was trying to bend out and snapped it. For example, my Big Bay Pacific tank now called number 10 Linwich, the original name it had of Admiral Horatio Nelson, is now used on my Black 5. Ah, fair enough. See, that snap still might be okay where it is. We'll see. We shall see. Let's get a couple of nicks in here, the same as we did with the top of the partition. I can see that one. I can see it from this side. That's easier. There we go. And I can see that one. So yeah, it looks like that crack's going to be mostly not actually on the carriage and is going to be on the scrap bit that goes. So we shall see how it will go, how it works. We're just lining up the straight edge along the inside, so we've got it curving up so that we're not losing the curvature. Knife slipped, luckily it slipped in the right direction. Oh, not the knife, the straight edge. Oh my god, I'm going to go now as I get up early tomorrow. Stay safe, all of you. Okay, good night, J94. Thank you for coming by. Sleep well. The only one now unnamed is number 19, Scratchbuilt J17, because I ran out of nameplates. That's a good reason for it to be unnamed. It's a bit like how my Peckett is named because I had nameplates. So, it's not the worst. So most of that crack is gone. But it did lose a little bit more plastic than I intended to on this side. So I've actually cut it too small. It probably would have been absolutely fine as a roof. Never mind, I shall remake it again off camera. There's no point in me doing it again on camera. You've all seen how I make a roof many, many times, and you've seen me make this one. So if you really want a tutorial on it, I'll do a video on it. Let me know, because I can boil the kettle then and not have to worry about it being loud and stupid and taking forever because editing. But we do have a carriage which is up on its bogies now, which is nice. Speeded up kettles. Well, I mean, no, I'd more just cut it out completely, actually, James. I think I have a couple of plates saying eagle somewhere, but I don't feel they suit it. Is there a term used for someone who sits quietly in the background but does all the heavy lifting? Probably. I think it was me moving my sister all week. Kettle-based modelling, indeed. Kettle-based modelling. That is actually dry enough though that I can pull some acetate out and we can make some glazing. We're not going to stick the glazing in yet because we need to paint the outside before we stick it in. But we can at least make it. I lost my nick. That would be an unsung hero, Red. It would, wouldn't it, Javier? And I see you're back with your account with your name on it now. There we go, I can see that a bit better now. And there's the shill, of course. No idea how I got on here. I was logged into the home last time I checked. Yeah. You were logged into that the last time I saw you pop up in chat as well. Oh dear, slightly too long. Better too long than too short though. Trooper was a name that came to mind, also Boxer the horse from Animal Farm. Ah. Well, they are both names. Weird indeed, and you're back in that account now. Just trying to confuse us all, that's it, isn't it? You're doing it on purpose. And there we have some perfectly cut glazing. No issues with it whatsoever. And now we have it marked for height. When I was marking that, I left it up off the ground, so that will fit in there perfect, and we will do another bit to the same height. And that will be the glazing for the other side. What am I doing on purpose? Exactly, yeah. What are you doing on purpose indeed? I realise both of them were you. Yeah. You do now, Red. Both of them are the wonderful manufacturer of this kit that was an absolute joy to build. So that is glazing for the sides. I will get this one up as well. That can go, for now, in my pot that spare parts go in. We now need some glazing for the guards compartment, which for the back we can just use a bit of this. Talking of kits, whatever happened to the SE Finecast buyout? Honestly, no idea. This is something, under normal circumstances, I would know by now. But what with the weld ending at the end of last year and all that jazz, I unfortunately do not. And there is our glazing piece for the back. If anything, it could use with being slightly shorter. The company still seems to be owned by Dave, which makes me think it didn't go through. But you never know with these things, do you? Oh, that's a shame. That's slightly too long. So what we want to do then, there we go, there's our nick. Are you fitting glazing before painting the outside? No, I am cutting the glazing. Alright, the apocalypse, all the white metal bodies tumbling down a massive sinkhole. Yeah. I more meant the actual apocalypse that happened. But no, Linny, I am only cutting out the glazing. That is why it's been chucked into my pot rather than being fitted. Slightly too long. Again, better than slightly too short. Good, good. Yeah, see, I'm not that silly. Not tonight, anyway. No, you always double check these things, though, because, I mean, I've met me too. Oh, time from the spray booth. Welcome back from the spray. I can English. Welcome back from the spray booth. Please tell us about the spraying. Oh, and there's the donation link for those that want to help but don't want to donate every month. Just one of many ways that you can make a terrier whistle. And there is all our glazing pieces cut. So now with this being a bit drier, and obviously all the bits of it that have leaked out to the outside, as was inevitably going to happen with my ability at painting, all dried, we can paint the outside. I'm going to go with Humbrol Matte 186, which is the same colour as this, and will give us a sort of bare wood look. Ideally, I want my narrow gauge carriages to be teak, but that would require me to have the skill to paint teak. Interior green into the Spitfire, RM02 grey, sort of dusty grey, into the 109. Ah, excellent. I approve of progress. So yes, I say this gives a sort of bare wood look. It's actually quite close to the colour the framing is in on the real thing. And there is a part of me that is tempted, because as was pointed out by Becca earlier, for those that missed it, this is technically too late a carriage for my layout. So there is a part of me that is tempted to paint this into Talaflin livery rather than Nutley, Crowborough and Groombridge livery. Which this would be the ideal base for, because then it's just picking out the panelling in red. It is very attractive, a very attractive livery on it. If anyone wants to look up the real thing, it's Talaflin Bogey Coach number 22. But as it stands, that's not a bad natural wood colour, which is sort of an effect I'd like. So ideally I'd like them to all be teak, but I've never tried painting teak before, so I'm not doing it on the live stream for the first time. Just remembered I forgot to fill that hole for the buffer. Matt Wickham has videos of painting teak. He does, and I have watched the video several times. And I will certainly be watching it. I will be sat watching it the first time I do attempt to apply teak to something. It doesn't involve mixing the tartan paint with brown. Yeah, I've watched his video 3 or 4 times. He certainly makes it look a lot less scary than everyone says. So when it actually comes time to trying it, I will also be watching it again then. That is a good colour for that carriage. Yeah. You are quite right, James. Hydration is important and I should be hydrating. But it can wait till I'm done painting. Which, let's face it, is not much left to do. How I do it is with Vallejo model colour wood coated with a very thin, deliberately streaky coat of golden teak wood stain in the direction of the intended grain. Yes, I've heard of that method a couple of times. It's certainly an interesting one. I can see why it works, but quite how good I'd be at it, and I like the idea of having a video to follow as I do it. Sitting and watching someone I tend to find is a good way of learning things, which is why I started Let's Build. To help people learn. And then all you lot who know what you're doing came along and started watching it, and I'm like, oh, okay then. I'll model with people who know what they're doing. Absolutely, sir. I learned a lot from in the early 2010s from a model series I found on YouTube. Excellent. I'm glad I'm not the only one who learns from watching videos. And there we have a painted carriage. And I do think that colour looks quite good on it. Put it up on its wheels in a second once I've cleaned the brush. Oh, the early 2010s. I remember the early 2010s. I lived in a little flat, far too small for a model railway. In the early 2010s, I lived here in the same house I live in now. Hydration is important. How wonderfully consistent indeed. I have lived here since 2007. And there we go. Up on its bogies as well. A carriage. It's a shame I messed up the roof, isn't it? 2007, gosh, I remember 2007. In the early 2010s, I lived in a tiny house about 2 miles from where I am now. Ah, so you stayed local then. Yeah, if I hadn't messed up the roof, we'd basically have a finished carriage now. So it's a shame I messed that up. But if we didn't, that's 2 hours work to dismantle what was still together and rebuild it all from scratch. Obviously we now need to wait for the paint to dry before sticking the glazing in. But the glazing is cut and ready for that. It will be stuck in with Deluxe Materials glue and glaze. The roof will be stuck on with glue and glaze as well. Are you going to line this? I don't know at the moment. I'd like to be. It needs something. Like, this is the same colour, but it's got all the metal work picked out on it, and it really lifts it having that little something extra on it. So I don't want to leave it plain in this colour with nothing else, which might mean making door handles and stuff, because it currently has none of them. But that will wait until the paint is dry as well, and I shall make them and measure them up on the body by looks rather than by scale. Because for example this one, which I made the door handles for earlier, they are definitely over scale, but they look right on the carriage. Paint videos, paint waste space. Looks great still. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. So yes, it needs details added. It needs stuff to pick out to improve its looks, rather than being all plain on one colour. Oh yeah, this gets away with being plain on one colour because it's got so much going on in its relief. You know, it's significantly smaller than that, and it's got 4 doors on it. It's got the bars stuck out, running all the way across. It's got panelling recessed in. So although that's one colour, it doesn't look it so much. But right now, we need to do something else. Conveniently, I planned for this. Quite how well I planned, we'll find out, because I never actually opened this box earlier. It's a Southeastern Railway. Open in laser cut form. That just happened to be sat next to me. I can't imagine how that happened. Indeed, Jane, but the command no longer works. So yes, we have, courtesy of Linny, a Southeastern Railway open. I don't think I'm meant to have two of these sheets. I think I'm only meant to have one. Because that's all our details from the sides here. And the axle box covers. Oh no, Linny's website is currently out of action. It is indeed, that's why the command doesn't work. Yeah, really gives... I can't either. Just replace the text with Linny is splendid. Well, it is true. Linny is splendid. Well, I do have buffers and couplings and everything for these, but not right here. I just wanted... I have the kits sat next to me. Am I correct, Linny, that I only need one of these? Or has it been so long since you've done one of these that you can't remember either? So remember that these kits have no instructions with them because I was given them as test builds. I have nothing to work from other than how simple Linny puts everything together. You should only need one of those. That's what I thought. Because I can see how it all fits together already, and I'm sure most people can. We're going to start with the chassis. There's our subfloor and a top floor. And our W irons and axle boxes and springs that all fit together nicely, and brake gear. And everything's going to go beautifully. I'm going to pop that out first. We're going to clean it up the tabs with the file. To recommend building the chassis. I'd recommend building the chassis to the floor first is all. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. I best grab my bearings as well because I want to put bearings in it. I know where my wheels are, but my bearings are hidden. Why is there only... oh, there is 4 in there, that's okay. Now I am actually going to cut this out with the knife rather than pushing it out because these smaller bits are significantly more fragile. If I cut them out, not pop them out. Yeah, I know. I didn't think it would be an issue on a big bit like that. Yeah, I won't say transfer riders. So no, I hope helpful as long as I don't mess it up, they will be. Ah, you'll do fine, Alex. You will do fine. And again, we'll clean up with a bit of sprue with a file. Also, your axle box covers type input bearings on the bottom of the card sheet. They are indeed, I saw that. Don't worry, I remember how to build Linny kits. And these will fit wonderfully, with no issues, up into that space there. See? I just know these things. Because Linny kits are that well designed. Let's grab some wheels out for it. Do I have any split spokes in here? Well, you're clearly no good on that. That axle is way too small for you. It doesn't look like I do. That's a shame. Not that I can use anyway. I'll have to go on some Hornby wheels. Because my only split spoke wheels, their axle is a little bit loose inside them. And I'm not going to use a set of wheels with an axle that loose. We're going to cut out the next bits. We're going to make sure they fit as well. They will, but we're going to make sure anyway. Because you should always test fit. And these will sit very nicely into their slots here and provide us springs, the axle boxes and the sole bars. They won't stay there for obvious reasons, it's an open hole. But you know, they fit in the slots really well, and even like that, without them actually lined up and stuck to anything, the holes for the axle boxes line up perfectly. Now we can take it all apart again and actually put it together. That bearing does not want to come out. There we go. That is better. So the bearings will go in the hole. They will also fit perfect. And when these slide over, they'll go into there. The bearings will be held in with super glue, and then the rest will be done with PVA. I'll squirt some super glue onto the desk. Put some around the hole, acting quickly because I'm sure it will soak into the MDF. And poking the bearing. I'll do the same again. As you can see, I'm being really good with these bearings, knowing I have to be quick. And there we go, all 4 bearings are in. Just like that. Now Linny, would you advise sticking these to these first or these into the chassis first, the floor first? Let's move that out the way and get the PVA. It's a child-locked PVA, so it has a child lock to contend with, as well as the fact that it glues itself shut. It's super helpful. Let's clean the super glue off my pin because I will be using, since I've added the axle guards, then slot into the floor with the glue, while the glue is still a bit wet, flexible. Child safe glue with a child lock. Yeah, I know, James. I know. I don't know why they've put a child lock on it, but they have. So that goes on like that. That drops down on top. I'll spread some glue over here. And then get it fitted in place, and you'll see it all still fits perfect. Make sure you put the correct solder on the correct side. You say that after I put it on the wrong side, don't you? And I genuinely have as well, because I can see the hanger there and the brakes, the slot for the brakes on this side. Good job we're using PVA and we can undo it, eh? See, even if you make mistakes, they're nice, simple, easy kits. Not my fault there's such a delay on messages. No, indeed it's not. And there we go, there's that one in. Clear that up a little bit. If I put that there, I can put the pin on it and not need to clear up. That makes sense. Let's get this stuck onto here. Measures soon saw you start applying glue. That's quite a delay, although at the same time it depends on when I looked up and saw the message. Do I want to fight with the wheels to fit the wheels at the same time as I'm fitting the sole bars? Or can I get away with fitting the wheels afterwards? I'll put some more glue on this side. If you're gentle and bend both out spots at the same time, don't just bend one, you can fit the wheels afterwards. Right. Well, I've met me, so I'm going to try and wrestle with the fitting the wheels now. Which was a much easier task than I expected. And just like that, we have a rolling chassis in what, 10 minutes? Find me another manufacturer that gets you from nothing, from etches to rolling chassis in 10 minutes. So now we'll cut out our axle box covers, which we have plenty of spares for. then just apply them. Nice to start a quick build as well, given that I've also got the spit together and hadn't actually started when I mentioned it first time. Oh, excellent! Definitely found the Axelbox covers had a habit of going ping. Yes, I can imagine. That does not surprise me at all. But at the same time, there's plenty of other people out there that have designed kits that clearly bits have gone ping and they haven't bothered to put lots of spares on, so again, another thing to commend you for. And there we go, that's the Axelbox covers on. So now it's bound to be brake gear time. Tend to use tweezers for the Axelbox covers myself. Yeah, tweezers would make sense. But when do I do things that make sense? Let's get that camera there. That seems a better angle. Now where's... Right, it's just that one, okay. You will want tweezers fitting the strap into the wagon sides though. They will bend all over the shop otherwise. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. The awkward shape of them. Clearly the Southeastern weren't thinking of modelers when they designed those. I think I'm going to want tweezers for lining these up. And there is a brake. And then I'm guessing the handle goes a bit like that. That's narrow cut in the brake lever. It shouldn't have a little sticky out bit at the pivot end. I did wonder. Right, let's get some glue on and get the brake in place. Reminds me I have a couple of opens on my own to sort out. Well, you know what I have to say about that, don't you, Red? Get on with it. I should definitely have that on mugs as well. When the bits fit so well during the dry run that you have trouble getting it apart again to apply glue. Yeah. Yeah. It very much is that. Oh no, I knocked it. I felt that as it went down. There we go. Now we have a rolling chassis with a brake. Right, floor has 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I've knocked the brake again. Very clumsy of me. So, important thing here. Glue the plank floor to the underframe floor first, then add the ends, then add the sides. That is what I thought. You'll be glad to hear. That is the order I thought it was done in. If you build the body around the plank floor, you won't be able to get it on the chassis. Yeah, I was looking at how it all connects together when it first came out. So now we're going to put this to the side here and we're going to construct these, by which I mean we're going to put these bits on these bits. It's not a lot really, is it? But yes, I had looked at this and seen that you have here some holes through the ends which clearly line up with these here. Lily's kits are very simple and straightforward. Is it just the 2 on there? It is, isn't it? Yes. There we go. Another sprue done with. And as you can see there, what I didn't show earlier is it is a detailed interior on these as well. Being very light with it there. Because of course it is only MDF. We don't want to break it. And there is the bot to remind you that I set up a Facebook page and you should go like it. The bot likes the Facebook page. Something about harvesting information from people. gets it all excited. And so that is how they will go. Once we pick the glue back up. And there is one end. And there is the other end, which you just saw I did without looking. That's how well these fit together. Done? Excellent. Excellent, sir. So then these go on here. As I said, there is quite obvious holes where they line up. I don't want to move it around too much because of this still being wet. I don't want to put lots of pressure on it. Trying to watch out for where this is as well, which is why I've turned it round so I could see it. Oh, I've moved the top so it's not lined up. That won't help. Like the Facebook. Yeah, that's what I assumed you meant. There are plans for the Facebook page to do stuff with it. But it needs more likes first. Easiest method, plonk the end on the bench, push the chassis down into the holes. See, I thought that, but I wasn't sure. But yes, clearly that works very well. Let's do it the other way round as well. And we're not going to take those back out. We're going to put the glue there. I'll be honest, they're such a good fit that I'm worried I'll break them taking them back out. Can you tell I build these myself? Indeed I can tell you build them yourself. I'd be thoroughly disappointed if you didn't. So, now, we have the sides to do. We have 10 minutes left. These are going to be fun. I am assuming we want to put these on here first, because clearly this bit covers up over the edge here. Again, look, nice planked interior, you can see where the door is. Isn't it good? Oh, the brake's sitting slightly too high up, that's what it is. That's better now. And that's popped out the end. So I've not stuck that one on that side on yet. I'm still just test fitting. But they test fit very well. And now I've knocked the axle box. I'll sort that in a minute. Yeah, I know. By the time you've sent that, I've already spotted it because silly time delay. If only you had a spare. If only. Didn't need it though. And look at that, that's already a wagon. And we're not even done yet. Despite how good it looks. We have all the ironwork to add. Which Linny very nicely. It also lasers in as a guide for you to see what you're doing. 50 minutes into the build, all you have to do is stick the strapping on. You say that, but I didn't actually start the build till about 20 past. So this is more like 30 minutes into the build. So yeah, that is how good these kits are, everyone. Well, all the bits that I provide, you need buffers and couplings. Yeah, still need buffers and couplings, but they don't really add much in the way of time, do they? Super glue a set of buffers in. Make up a set of Smith's couplings. Now everyone, I want you to tell Linny what a shame it is they're currently not producing kits. Because let's face it, it really is. Five minutes to go, everyone. It is just strapping to do. That's not bad for about half hour's work, is it? So these wagons were unusual in not having ironwork go around the corners like most wooden body wagons, because they weren't attaching side planks to end planks, but rather side planks to end framing. Ah, interesting. Very interesting indeed. Three minutes to go. Something tells me that's actually not quite enough time to put on the rest of this strapping. Which of course means we'll just have to run a bit late. only by a couple of minutes. Because I don't think we could really not finish this tonight now, do you? Don't get stuck to the tweezers. Gosh, efficient progress. Indeed, James, indeed. Remember to smash the like button, says the bot. On the real wagons at the end you could see the ends of the side planks, much like you can on this kit. Oh, excellent. Very excellent. I make it 1 minute to midnight. I have 2 bits of strapping to put on. And there we are, everybody. There is the last bit of strapping on, and it is midnight. It is done. It's a nice touch to have on wagons, yes. Oval places were chalkboards for writing destinations of the wagons. Ah, I assumed they were number plates. Pumpkin time, well, good night, guys. I'm going to bed. Yes! Good night, Red. We are all going to bed. I've decided. You're all out past your bedtime. It's very disgraceful. The only thing for it is for me to say good night. It has been absolutely wonderful. We have built a wagon in 40 minutes. We have restored a 009 coach. I have had an absolutely fantastic time. Copy a record for a quick build. That was 40 minutes. I am super impressed at that. I was not expecting to get it finished. I think that's more the designer's fault than the builder's fault. So yes, thank you for coming, everyone. It has been absolutely wonderful to have you all here. I have had a great time. I hope you have too. I have a video coming for you on Tuesday, just to make a change. It's actually already filmed and uploaded. I've been super efficient this week. I will have the review of this live stream on Thursday, and then I hope to see you all next Sunday. In the meantime, of course, there is the Discord, there is the Twitter, there is the Facebook. Get in touch. I have some ideas for what we're doing next week based on some suggestions made to me through the week that were very good. So, until then, thank you for coming, everyone. I have been Gary, this has been Let's Build, you've been awesome. Good night.